I liken us to the King Josiah generation. And let me explain here. Let me read a few verses so you understand what I'm talking about. But Josiah reigns in Judah. 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 1. Jehoshaphat was 8 years old. That's Josiah in English. When he began to reign. And he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem, which is Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yediah, the daughter of Adiah of Butchqua. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. So Josiah goes on to repair the temple in this story. And it came to pass in the 18th year of the king Josiah Yahu, that the king sent Shaphan the son of Atsalahu, the son of Mesulam, and the scribe to the house of Yahuwah, saying, Go up to Chilkiah, the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought to the house of Yahuwah, which the guards of the door have gathered of the people. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work that have oversight of the house of Yahuwah. And let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahuwah to repair the breaches of the house, and to carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit, there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. So basically what happens to go on to the story, Hilkiah finds the book of the law, and Yahuwah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the sefer of the Torah in the house of Yahuwah. And Chilkiah gave the sefer to Shaphan, and he read. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king and brought the king word again, and said, Your servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and to deliver it into the hand of them that do work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahweh. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Chilkiah the priest has delivered me a sefer. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the sefer of the Torah, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Seliquel the priest, Aquiquam the son of Shaphan, and Abgor the son of Miqua, Yahu, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah the king of the king's servant, Go ye, inquire Yahuwah for me, for the people, for all Yahudah, concerning the words of the sefer that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of the sefer, to do according to all that is written concerning us. Before I go on, I just want to tell you that growing up as a Christian all my life, and when I came into the Nazarene, into the way, into keeping the Torah, keeping his feast, keeping his Shabbat, being engrafted into Israel, according to Romans chapter 11, understand that in many, many thousands of what they call churches today, all across America and the world, hidden within their King James Bible, is the Torah of Yahweh. What they call the Old Testament, referring that it's old and done away with. They've twisted the scriptures of Paul to say that we don't need the law no more. But when you read Paul, you'll find out that Paul supported the Torah. He wrote letters to the churches supposedly is a bad term. It's really assemblies, the called out ones that gathered around and kept the Torah, kept the feast. But when the Council of Nicaea in the 3rd century took over and created a lawless religion called Christianity, they hid the Torah of Yahweh within their printed documents. And many people today are waking up to the truth to find out that in Matthew chapter 5, the Messiah said that great is he that teaches and does the Torah, the law, and he'll be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Go look at Matthew chapter 5 and read that. And those that do not like it and do not teach it will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Here's the reason why. It's during the reign of the Messiah, when he comes and he sets people up in his kingdom, he can trust you because you kept his Torah. He cannot trust those that did not keep the Torah. That's why they'll be least. Because when he sets up his kingdom, those that kept the Torah and did it before they even had the full understanding of it all will be called great, because they'll be set up as rulers over cities and nations and all these things. So I'm going to go on and read. Go ye inquire unto Yahuwah for me and for the people and for all Yahudah concerning the words of the Sefer that he found. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is kindled against us, because our father has not hearkened unto the words of the Sefer to do according to all that is written concerning us. You see, our fathers, you see, our generations before us have been hoodwinked by the Jesuits, by the Freemasons, by the Pope of Rome. Lots of us have woken up to the truth and taken the Roman collar off, and we've come into the way, into the Nazarene. Hallelujah! Understand that the Father wrestled me in my home and broke my leg like he did Jacob and changed his name to Israel. He broke my leg and he brought me out of that deception of that harlot religion and brought me into the tribes of Israel that are scattered abroad today. So Silquaho, the priest of Aquaquam and Abhor and Shaphan and Asala, went into Jodah, the prophetess, the woman of Shalim, the son of Tequah, the son of Quarquah, the garter of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem. That's Israel. That's Jerusalem, and in the college, and they communed with her. And she said unto them, Thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel, which is Israel, tell the man that sent you to me, thus says Yahweh, behold, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants thereof, even unto the words of the Sefer which the king of Yahuwah has read, because thou hast forsaken me, and hast burned incense unto other Elohim, that thou might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall be not quenched. But to the king of Yahudah, which is the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuwah, thus shall ye say to them, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Yahusharel, as touching the words you have heard. Let me go back. The prophetess, a woman. A prophetess is a woman. Understand that the Indian tribes of the Native Americans had what they called clan mothers. And they had the last word in the tribe. They were held as sacred in a sense. It almost reminds you of this passage here. Because thou hast forsaken me, I have burned incense unto the other Elohim, that thou might provoke me to anger with all the works of thy hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and not be quenched. But to the king of Yahudah, which sent you to inquire, Yahuwah, thus shall ye say to him, Thus says Yahweh Elohim of Yasharel, as touching the words which you have heard. Because your heart was tender and you have humbled yourself before Yahweh, when you heard which I spoke against this place and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation of a curse, and have rent your clothes and wept before me, I have also heard you, says Yahweh. I call upon to all of you that call yourselves Christians. You're in a lawless religion. You teach that the law is done away with. You have a chance here. What happened with me, I always pray that the Spirit of Yahweh, what the Christians call the Holy Spirit, which I call the set-apart Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, in other words, in the Hebrew, a better term for it. I always pray that you would show me the hidden things, that you would search my heart. Those that hunger and thirst after righteousness for his name's sake shall be filled. And so he saw my heart. He's seen my heart. And he called me out of Christianity and brought me in to the truth of Yahweh's word. Because you're holding the Bible today. You're reading it. And hidden within it is the Torah of Yahweh, is the law of what you call God. It's hidden in there. Go read Romans 11 and ask him to graft you in. Go read the last chapter of Revelation, and those that keep the law and love it and do it will be able to enter into his gates. Not one of them says Christian. Christians were sent by Rome to indoctrinate the tribes that were scattered abroad, to bring them to a lawless religion, to take away their feast days, to take away their Sabbath or Shabbat, to take away the ways of Yahweh, the way of the Most High, to bring in their lawless doctrine to the point where they lost who they were. They don't know who they are anymore. But guess what? Y'all's waking them up. And when we get into the next chapter, in chapter 23, you're going to see how us, as the people of Yah scattered abroad, are going to tear down the strongholds among the earth, and we're going to set up his kingdom that's coming. Because your heart was tender and you humbled yourself before Yahweh when he heard what I spoke unto this place and against to the inhabitants of thereof, that you shall become a desolation and a curse. You have rent your clothes and wept before me. I also have heard, says Yahweh. Behold, therefore, I will gather you unto your fathers, and you shall be gathered into your grave in peace, and your eyes shall not see all the evil which I shall bring into this place. And they brought the king word again. Before I go into the next chapter, I just want to read Jeremiah 6:16. Thus says Yahweh, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the ancient paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, ye shall find rest for your souls. Understand, is that you as a Christian, whatever religion or denomination that you are, that I used to be for all my life, I came into the ancient paths. Where is the good way? And I'm walking in it. And I'm finding rest for my souls. And I cry out for you to repent, to ask of him to be able to walk in his ancient paths and to come in to walk into his Torah. Just like King Josiah did when the scribe, the priest, found the book of the law, the Torah, hidden. And he brought it out and read it to the people, and he repented. The same with us. Look in your King James Bible. Look in any Bible you want. The book of the law, the Torah, is hidden in there. And men have twisted it. They've made it lawless. They twisted Paul's words. And they've twisted them to the point where the law is done away with. But if we go back to 2 Kings, talking about Josiah, What happens is when you realize that you've been hoodwinked and duped all your life and you were born into this, and Yah wrestles you and breaks your leg and changes your name from Jacob, which was a liar, a deceiver, and changes it to Israel, Yisrael, then the reforms come. You start tearing down the high places. And in 2 Kings chapter 23, and the king sent, and they gathered to him all the elders of Yahudah and of Jerusalem, which is Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahweh, and all the men of Yahudah, which is Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which is Jerusalem, with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. Y'all's calling everyone from around the earth, both small and great, from every tribe, tongue, and nation, to come into the King Josiah place, the peace of it, the ancient path to walk in it. And he read into their ears and all the words of the Sefer of the covenant, which was found in the house of Yahweh. It was found. You understand that? It was lost. It's lost still to many people. But it's been found. It's been found by me. It's been found by my brothers that I gather with on the Shabbat. All around the earth. And the king stood by the pillar and cut a covenant before Yahweh to walk after Yahweh, to guard his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart, with all their soul, and not only that, to perform it. Perform the words of this covenant which were written in the Sefer, and all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Chua, the high priest, and the priest of the second order, and the guarders of the door, to bring forth out the temple of Yahweh, and all the vessels that were made for Baal, which if you look up Lord and God, it translates back to Baal. They've hidden the name, Yahweh. They've hidden it from you. Research it, please. And for all Ashtaroth and for all the host of heaven, he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Cordon, and carried the ashes of them to Bethel. The ashes of these gods that you've been duped into, like Christmas and Easter and Halloween. The ashes of them are not even worthy to be on your land. And they're carrying them out. And he put down the idolless priest. You understand that? He's going to put down the wolves with sheep's clothing. The lawless preachers that have talked and spoke against the law of Yahweh, the Torah of Yahweh, the one that says that you'll be able to enter into the gates of the city if you love and do his Torah, his law. The Messiah said you'll be called great in the kingdom of heaven in Matthew 5. Well, Jeff, go read the Beatitudes. I did. Matthew 5, he told me to keep the Torah, told me to keep the law. And yeah, we're not doing it perfectly and fully on that day in Isaiah. If you go read Isaiah, oh my gosh, the law will go forth out of Zion. It's going to be fully written in our hearts. And he's going to dwell in the midst of us. In verse 5, and he put down the idolatrous priest. And we have to do that. When you come into the knowledge of the Torah, you have to reject your local churches. If you look up the word church, you know what that means? It's a circus. It's a witch's coven. People, they're giving the shot out there and changing people's DNA. Run! And he put down the idolatrous priest, the third time I say it, whom the kings of Yahudah, of Judah, had ordained to burn incense into the high places in the cities of Yahudah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them that also burn incense to Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. Understand? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all named after the planets. We're on the calendar of the Pope, of Gregorian. You understand this? They've changed it all, buddy. They killed my people in the 1st century. They got together in the 3rd century. They created a lawless religion and mixed in pagan deities of theirs into this, what you call Christianity today. They form Christmas. They form Easter. They brought all this together. And you'll have people that will dispute me and say I'm wrong and all this all day long. But you have to inquire like King Josiah did with the priestess. You understand that? You have to go beyond the local preachers and the local churches and all these people that have deceived you and robbed you of your inheritance. And inquire. And because of your repentance and because you rent your clothes, the Most High will forgive you. And He'll change you. And He'll allow you to enter in to the city in the last chapter of Revelation. But going on to talk about it, and he put down the idolatrous priest again. I'm going to say this again. And the kings of Yehuda has ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Yehuda, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. You know, there's spiritual wickedness in high places. And we're called to pull them down, to cast them down. And he brought unto the asherah's pole from the house of Yahweh without Jerusalem, and into the brook Cordon, and burned it. Burned it! And into the brook Cordon, and stamped it to the powder, and cast the powder thereof into the graves of the children of the people. And he broke down the houses of Sodom that were by the house of Yahweh, where the women wove hangings for Ashtaroth. And he brought all the priests of the cities of Yehuda and defiled the high place where the priests had burned incense from Geba to Beersheba, and broke down the high places of the gates that were in the entering of the gates of Yahushua, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand of the gates of the city. Burn them! You need, in your life, you need to get rid of those high places. Get rid of those holidays, and replace them with the feast days. You have to understand, people, it comes way back when they came over to this land to indoctrinate the Native Americans that were keeping the feast. They were keeping the Torah. They had tassels, Z-seats on the hem of their garments, people. And they indoctrinated them. They brought them into a lawless religion. And he brought into all the priests of the city of Yehuda and defiled the high places of where the priests had burned incense from Geba until Beersheba, and broke down the high places, the gates that were in the entering of the gate of Yahushua, the governor of the city, which were the man's left. Wherefore the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of Yahuwah in Jerusalem, but they did eat of matzah, the unleavened bread, among their brethren. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or daughter to pass through the fire to Molech. Ended it. King Josiah, 8-year-old when he started his reign. It's from the children of babes that they shall praise the Most High. And he took away the horses of the kings of Yehuda that had given to the son in the entering of the house of Yahweh, and by the chamber of Nathan Melech, the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sons with fire. And the altars that were on top of the upper chamber of Ascloth, which the kings of Yahuwah had made, which Meshkanol had made in the two courts of the house of Yahweh, did the king beat down and broke them down from thence and cast them, the dust on them, to the brook of Quorum. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the mountain of corruption, which Shalom the king of Yisrael had built for Ashtaroth, the abomination of the Chasodim, and for the Chemosh, the abomination of the Moavim, and for Malachon, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he broke into pieces, he broke into pieces the images and cut down the Ashtoreth poles and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel and the high places which Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who had made Yasharel to sin, had both the altar and the high place he broke down and burned the high place and stamped it to powder. Stamped it to powder and burned the Ashtoreth pole. And Yahoo turned it unto himself. He spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount and sent and took the bones of the sepulchres and burned them upon the altar and polluted it according to the word of Yahweh, which the man of Elohim proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, "What title is this that I see?" And the men of the city told him, "It is the sepulchre of the man of Elohim, which came from Yahudah, and proclaimed that these things which thou have done against the altar of Bethel, that he said unto him, Let him alone, let no man move his bones. So let his bones alone, with the bones of the prophet that came out of Samaron, and to all the houses of the high places that were in the cities of Samaron, which the kings of Yisrael had made to provoke Yahweh to anger. Yisrael took away and did unto them according to all the acts that he had done unto Bethel, and he slew all the priests of the high places that were upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. And King Josiah restores Pesach, the Passover, which they call Easter today. Renounce Easter. Renounce your local church, your witches' coven, the circus, and come and follow the Torah of Yahweh, and come and keep his feast of the Passover, Pesach. Learn these things, please, people. I came out. You can come out. And once you do, you can tear down the high places in your life. And you can walk in the ancient paths. And your soul will be in peace and at rest. And the king commanded all the people, saying, Keep the Pesach, which is the Passover, unto Yahweh Elohim. And it is written in the Sefer of his covenant, Surely there was not held such a Pesach from the days of the judges that judged Yisrael, nor in all the days of the kings of Yisrael, nor the kings of Yahudah. But in the 18th year of King, what they call Josiah, wherein this Pesach, the Passover, was held to Yahuwah in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards, the teraphim, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Yahudah in Jerusalem, did Yahshua Yahweh put away, that he might perform the words of the Torah which were written in the Sefer that Shiliqua, the priest, found in the house of Yahweh. And like unto him there was no king before him. that turned to Yahweh with all his heart, with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the Torah of Moshe, neither after him arose any like him. Neither after him rose any like him. Notwithstanding, Yahuwah turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Yehudah, which is Judah, because of all the provocations that Manasseh had provoked him withal. And Yahuwah said, I removed Yehudah, Judah, out of my sight, as I removed Yasharel, which is Israel, and will cast the city of Jerusalem, which is Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and will cast the city Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house which I said, my name shall be there. Now the rest of the acts of Yahuwah and all he did, are they not written in the Sefer of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah in the days of Pharaoh Necho, king of Mitzrayim, which went up from the king of Ashur in the river of Perth, and the king of Yahweh went up against him and slew him at Mael, which he had seen, and his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took the son of Yahweh and anointed him and made him king in his father's stead. You can go on and read the rest of that chapter, but I just want to tell you is that you have the opportunity before you die, before you're killed and murdered by what's going on in the world, or before you die of old age, or whatever it is, whatever you were born into, you need to look within the printed text that you have and find the Torah, the law of Yahweh, and use it to come out, to tear down the high places of Easter and Christmas, and restore the feast of Yahweh, the feast of Yasharel, into your midst. And keep the Pesach, the Passover. Keep all the feast of Israel. And we're talking about the 12 tribes, the 12 tribes scattered abroad. And when you do this, you'll be able to tear down the high places, and you'll be able to be one of those people that enter in to the gates of the city in the last chapter of Revelation. Please, I pray, I intercede for you, I pray for you, that you will escape what you've been born into and come into the ancient past and be a part of this great Josiah generation that has found the book of the law, the book of the Torah, that's been hidden in churches, in synagogues, in motel rooms all around the earth, and people are coming out of it in the thousands, and they're gathering together before the great gathering of the Most High, when he brings them into the Exodus and brings them in before the trumpet sound, before all these things happen in the world. Please come out. Please. Please. Father, I just pray in the mighty name of Yahushua that whoever's listening to this by the sound of my voice and this prayer, that you penetrate the hardness of their heart, that you cause them to inquire, that you cause them to search out the things, that you cause them to read the last chapter of Revelation to find out that those that enter into the city are those that keep the Torah and love it, the law. And that the Matthew chapter 5, the Messiah said that those that keep the Torah, the law, will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Cause them to see these things, Father. Cause them to come out. I cry all day long for them, Father. It's like this, that the piper piped all day long and cried out that his people would come and gather under his wings, to be a part, to be under the shadow of the Most High, the Almighty. He's calling his flock in. He's calling you into refuge. He's calling you out of the high places. He's calling you out of the temples of Ashtaroth poles and Christmas and Easter. He's calling you out of the false religions. And he's calling you back into his tribes. Because one day he's going to bring together the 2 sticks of the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes. And he's going to make them one. And he's going to dwell in the midst of them, people. He's going to dwell in the midst of us. And out of the Zion, the set-apart mountain of the Most High, will go forth the Torah. Read Isaiah, please. Read Isaiah. Please read it. Please inquire. Father, we just pray that you'll put the mark of Yahweh on their forehead, and that they won't receive the mark of the beast kingdom, that they'll keep themselves human of pure blood. We just thank you, Father, that my people are protected, that they'll come out from among them and be ye separate, says Yahweh. Come out from among them and be ye separate, says Yahweh. Be free. Be free. In the mighty name of Yahweh, of Yahushua, his son, I declare it so. From this day forward, you'll never be the same again. You'll never, ever be the same again. You'll enter up on this journey like King Josiah, where this man spoke to you truth and brought you to the Torah. And you've learned of it, and you brought down the high places with it. And you'll sound the trumpet, the shofar, and you'll go to war against the enemy. Our time is short. In the Revelation, it says that the enemy does not like those that keep the Torah. He sends a flood after those that keep the law of Yahweh, the Torah of Yahweh. But he will never prevail. He won't prevail over us. Come out, people. Come out in the mighty name of Yahushua.